Andrew, good to see you here. Basically, noticing in recent years that poor lateral movement from the linebackers. Teams would run our linebackers from sideline to sideline. What improvements have you seen this year?
From what I've seen just last week, everybody's moving really good. Yeah, you hope so. And I think that you have a much more athletic bunch of linebackers now. And, some of those things that they were missing in the past that maybe they looked like they were doing that is that a lot of times that they were still learning and they really didn't know where they were supposed to be and just kind of flying where they thought they were supposed to be. And that's the big difference now that these guys have been in the system long enough to where they know now where they're supposed to be. And I think we quoted this, I think it was Coach Dawson last week who, equated it as, you usually at this time you're teaching 101 level, 102 level classes, and now you're teaching the 800 level classes. So, yeah, that's going to be the biggest difference that you see there.
Seems like the return game is always one of the last ones to get figured out in terms of who's going to return those punts and kickoffs, unless you've got somebody who's done it before and they haven't really elevated as a wide receiver or running back. But Samuel's asking whether Omar Manning should be allowed to return punts.
Well, I know that he'll be one of those guys out there vying for it. I know Cam Taylor-Britt's up there. He's begging to be that guy. He'd rather play quarterback anyway, and or running back or receiver. But Omar's going to be one of those guys there. You're going to see a lot of those receivers. Maybe some of the guys like a Levi Falk and guys like that too. It's hard to say right now, but yeah, that'll all pan out as they get closer to game week, and don't be surprised to see a few other guys. Alante Brown could be right up in there in the running for that too. So we'll get a feel for that here in a couple of weeks.
Got Barry B back on here asking about the tougher opponent between Ohio State and Oklahoma based on playing style. Well, I would say that the Ohio State's got a slightly more talented, deeper roster than Oklahoma. I think they're a little bit more talented, but of course, Spencer Rattler's first-rate quarterback in Ohio State's probably going to be able to plug somebody in there, C.J. Stroud most likely, that's going to do the job and put up big numbers. But there is that question of how good is he going to be? And, with the inexperience, can we force him into a few mistakes, which there's less of a chance with an experienced quarterback, of course, that you're going to force him into mistakes. That's the first thing that comes to mind between those two teams.
Yeah, and I also equate it to the time of year that Nebraska's playing both of them. They're getting Oklahoma pretty early, so that might be the time to get Oklahoma. Now you're playing Ohio State a little bit later in the season when they're clicking on full cylinders. So, I just think with the uncertainty with Oklahoma as well that, Nebraska plays Ohio State pretty much year in and year out, and Oklahoma and Nebraska haven't seen each other in a number of years now. So I just think that rivalry makes it a little bit more of a winnable game, in my opinion, than the Ohio State game.
And it's impossible to really come to a conclusion on what the psyche is, since Nebraska has played Ohio State, and they played them really well, obviously, in Columbus in 2018. But the last two efforts have been dominant performances by Ohio State. More so 2 years ago in Lincoln, where they really buried them in the first half. The last game was, I think it was 28-17, and there was a turnover around midfield that broke open the game, and Ohio State, give them credit. They won the game by 4 touchdowns, but so it wasn't a close game, but it was much closer than the final score would indicate, and Nebraska was in the game in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was progress. They weren't blown out of that game in the first quarter like the year before. So, yeah,